All right. So we're going to start with the neckline. With 3 inches down. 3 inches. You take your ruler and then you roll down. The next is the bust point. That is shoulder to bust, shoulder to apex, shoulder to nipple. Down. So the next is your shoulder to under bust. That's 12 inches. Your under bust is basically about 3 inches away from your apex point. If you have a bigger breast or a bigger bust, then you can use about 4 inches, or just measure on your model so that you can get the accurate measurement. Now the next is the waist, which is also about 3 inches away from the under bust. And then you mark that as well. Then now your hip depth. So your hip depth is basically your waist, and your hip line is basically your hip depth, which is from your waist. You mark your hip depth. In my case, it's 8 inches, so just going to mark that 8 inches. Okay. So I'm just going to go ahead and label this. This is your neckline, your bust line, your under bust line, your waist line, and your hip line. So now we're going to divide the paper so that we can have a front pattern and a back pattern. So you divide the paper by the biggest part of your measurement. In my case, it's the hip. If yours is the bust, you can divide that by 4, and then you divide the paper by 2. Just like that. Mine is the hip. So my hip is 36 inches. Divided by 4, that is 9. So you just mark your 9 inch. You do the same thing for the back, 9 inches. And the next step is to add your zip allowance, which is 1 inch zip allowance. Now we're going to work with the neckline. We've determined the length, which is 3 inches. We're just going to go ahead and determine the width. Also 3 inches. So you take your neck curve, 3 inches. You take your curve and then you curve that into the length to the neckline. Then for the back, your neck length is 1.5, and then your width is 3 inches. You take your curve and then you mark just like that. So for your shoulder width, that's your shoulder to shoulder. Whatever you have, you divide that by 2. In my case, it's 14. So divided by 2, that's 7. You mark that. You go down by 1 inch, and then you connect that into your neck point. Just there. You do the exact same thing for the back. 7 inches. Go down by 1 inch. Just like that. Now the next step is to determine your armhole depth. So there's a simple measurement for that. that is your bust measurement divided by 6 plus 1.5. In my case, the bust measurement is 63.5 divided by 6 plus 1.5 gives me 7.08. So you just take your tape measure starting from this mark, this point. You mark that, and then you roll that, and then you roll just like that. You just do the exact same thing for the back. Like that. And then just like that. Just extend that line. Same thing with this, just extend that line. And you have that. So this will be your upper bust line. So now we want the armhole curve. You just determine the midpoint of this. Determine the midpoint of whatever you have here. Mine is about 3.4 something. You go in by 1/2 inch, just like that. And then you connect from here to this point to that. So you take your curve and you just connect. Just like that. For the back, you don't have to go in. You just find the midpoint of that, just that here, and then you just take your armhole curve from there, and you just connect, just like that. So this is your front and that is your back. So the next step now is just to add our dart. So for the waist dart is basically your apex to apex divided by 2. In my case, it's 2.5, so you mark that. 2.25, just like that. And 2.25, just like that. So you, from your bust line, you come down by 1 inch. Why? Because we don't want the pointy line on our dart. And from your hip line, you go up by 2.5. So for your waist dart, you just take 1/2 inch on both sides. Half. Now you just connect. And that is your dart for the front. You go ahead and do the exact same thing for the back. 0.25, half. Oh shit, sorry. 2.25, half. Here, 2.25. Because I want my back dart to be longer than the front, so I just go up by 2 inches instead of the initial 2.5 inch. So now we just connect. Just like that. Now we have the front dart and the back dart. Now we're just going to go ahead and fill in the bust measurement and the waist measurement. So the bust measurement is 33.5 divided by 4. We have 8.375. So we just mark that for the front and mark the same thing for the back. Our waist is 25. So that's 25 divided by 4 plus 1. That's for the dart. So 25 divided by 4, that's 6.25 plus 1. That's 7.25. So mark that. 7.25. So for the under bust line, you just mark your bust measurement divided by 4. And then you connect that. Just like that. Your bust measurement divided by 4. And then you connect that. So you take your curve and then you curve. This is a straight line. You connect this to this, connect that to that, just like that. And then you take your curve and then you connect that. And you connect it to the hip, just like that. Just like that.